Hi kids, let's learn subtraction today. You will be learning the full topic, so the video will be a bit long. So don't lose patience, children, and I'm sure you will be perfect in subtraction. Let's start. Do you know what this girl is thinking? The first question that comes to mind is, what is the meaning of such a big word, subtraction? Children, subtraction is just taking away one number from another number, or we can say taking away a smaller number from a bigger number. The answer is known as difference, and the sign used is minus sign. Before going to the questions, we must learn the properties of subtraction. The first property is subtracting 0. So children, when you subtract 0 from any number, that means you are taking out 0 from a number, or you are taking out nothing from a number. The answer remains the same. Like suppose if you have 2 chocolates and you are taking out 0 chocolates, or you are taking out no chocolates, that means you still have 2 chocolates with you. So 2 minus 0 gives you 2. 45 minus 0 gives you 45. 789 minus 0 gives you 789. And 4126 minus 0 gives you 4126. It doesn't matter how big the number is. If you subtract 0 from any number, the answer will always remain the same. Now let's go to the next property. The next property is subtracting 1. When we subtract 1 from any number, children, we get the difference as the previous number or the predecessor. Like, for example, if you are having 9 chocolates and you give away 1 chocolate to someone, so you are remaining with 8 chocolates. That means you are remaining with the predecessor of that number. Let's talk about a 2-digit number, 78 minus 1. That gives you 77. And as you know, 77 is the predecessor or the previous number to 78. Same goes with any other number, children. Let's talk about 4-digit number, 4477 minus 1. That gives you 4476, again the predecessor. Let's go to another property, that is subtracting number from itself. Okay, again let's come back to the chocolate example. If you are having 7 chocolates and you give away all the 7 to your sister or your brother, so what are you remaining with? You have 0 because you have given everything. So when a number is subtracted from itself, the difference is 0. So let's talk about the 4-digit number. 6632 minus 6632 gives you 0. Alright, now let's do some questions of properties on subtraction. The first is 356 minus 0. So children, you're subtracting 0 and we have done the property when you subtract 0 from any number, you get the same number as the answer, 356. Now let's do the B part. 2598 minus what will give you the same number? Yes, when you subtract 0 from any number, you will get the same number as the answer. C part. 2239 minus 1. You remember the predecessor property, children? The answer will be 2238, the previous number or the predecessor. Now let's go to D part. 5632 minus the same number, 5632 will give you 0 as the answer, the number subtracted from itself, that property. Now next is 8000 4900 minus dash will give you the same number. So when you subtract 0 from any number, it will give you the same number as the difference. Now F part. 4531 minus what will give you 4530. So children, observe that you are getting the difference as the previous number. So that means you need to subtract 1. Yes, so 4531 minus 1 will give you 4530. Now the last part. We cannot subtract a dash number from a dash number. I already told you in the beginning, children, that you always subtract a smaller number from a bigger number. So, on the contrary, we cannot subtract a bigger number from a smaller number. Now, there is this poem, subtraction poem, children. So, when you arrange the numbers vertically in columns, you have to check that whether the number on the top is more or whether the number on the floor is more. We will come back to this poem. Let's go to this question first. This question is 946 minus 323. Now children, we have to start always from the ones side. So we have to see that whether 6 is more or 3 is more. Yes, 6 is more. So the two lines which you have to learn is more on the top, no need to stop. That means you have to simply subtract. You don't have to stop anywhere because it is more on the top. So how to subtract? Let's go back to class 2 or class 1. We used to subtract by counting from the smaller number to the bigger number. So let's count from 3 to 6 on your fingers. Start counting after 3 till 6. 4, 5, 6. What is the answer? 3. That's correct. Now, let's go to the tens place. 4 and 2. So, you have to subtract 4 and 2. So, again, the first step. Check whether it is more on the top or whether it is more on the floor. Yes, 4 is more than 2. So, that means it is more on the top. So, if it is more on the top, that means you don't have to stop. You just have to simply subtract. So, count from 2 to 4, the smaller number to bigger number on your fingers. Start counting after 2 till 4. 3, 4. The answer is 2. Yes. Now, let's go to the hundreds place. 9 and 3. So, again, you have to check. The first step is to check whether the number on the top is more or whether the number on the floor is more. Yes, the number on the top, which is 9, is more than the number on the floor, which is 3. So, more on the top, no need to stop. That means you have to start counting from 3 till 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the answer is 6. Yes. Now what is the difference between 946 and 323? The difference is 623. Now let's start with 4-digit numbers, children. Just look at the ones side. 8 minus 3. Which is more? 8 is more than 3. So it is more on the top. That means you don't have to stop. So count from the smaller number to the bigger number. Start counting after 3 till 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5. 6 minus 5. These two numbers come together, children. So, the difference of the numbers who comes together is always 1. 9 minus 9. This we have done in the property when the number is subtracted from itself, the difference is always 0. 7 minus 3. So start counting from 3 to 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. The answer is 4. So the difference between these two numbers is 4015. Now let's try another question. 7759 minus 4105. Let's start from the one side. Is it more on the top or is it more on the floor? Yes, it's more on the top because 9 is more than 5. So, when it is more on the top, no need to stop. So, start counting from 5 to 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. The answer is 4. Next is 5 minus 0. The 0 property, children. When you subtract 0 from any number, the answer remains the same. 7 minus 1. The predecessor property. When you subtract 1 from any number, you get the previous number or the predecessor of that number. So 7 minus 1 is 6. 7 minus 4. Again, children, more on the top, so no need to stop. Start counting after 4 till 7. 5, 6, 7. The answer is 3. So the difference between the given two numbers is 3654. Now let us go to the other part of the poem. When you arrange the numbers vertically in columns, you have to check whether the number on the top is more or whether the number on the floor is more. By far we have done the questions where the number on the top is more. So now we will see the 4-digit numbers where the numbers on the floor is more. So what you have to do? The same thing which you have done in the 3-digit numbers. More on the floor, go next door and get 10 more. Let's see this question, children. 7652 minus 5124. Look at the ones column. 2 minus 4. Now clearly, children, it is more on the floor because 4 is more than 2. So 4 is more than 2, which is on the floor. So when it is more on the floor, you have to go next door and get 10 more. That means you will go to 5. 5 will be giving you 1/10 and it will become 4. And when you add 2 to 1/10, it will become 12. Now it is more on the top. No need to stop. So start counting after 4 till 12. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The answer is 8. Now let's see the hundredths part. 4 minus 2. It is more on the top. That means simple subtraction. No need to stop. Start counting from 2 to 4. 3, 4. The answer is 2. Now let's see the hundreds part. 6 minus 1. The predecessor property. 6 minus 1 gives you the predecessor of 6, which is 5. Now look at the thousands column. 7 minus 5. It is more on the top. No need to stop. So start counting after 5 till 7. 6, 7. So the difference between the given two numbers is 2528. Now let's do one more question, children. 7624 minus 5974. Let's look at the ones column. 4 minus 4. Numbers the same, 0 is the gain. And you remember that property, when you subtract the same number from itself, the answer is always 0. Now look at the tens column. 2 minus 7. It is certainly more on the floor. 7 is more than 2. So when it is more on the floor, you have to go to the next door and get 10 more. So you will go to 6 and borrow 1 tenth from there, and it will be 5. And when you add 1 tenth to 2, it will be 12. So now it is more on the top. Now you can simply subtract. Start counting from 7 till 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The answer is 5. Now let's go to the hundreds column. 5 minus 9. It is more on the floor. So again you have to go to the next door, which is 7. Borrow 1 from there. It will be 6. Add 1 tenth to 5. It will be 15. And now 15 minus 9. So start counting after 9 till 15. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The answer is 6. Now let's move to the thousands column. 6 minus 5. Now, as I have already told you, children, that the numbers which come together, the difference is always 1. You don't have to count on your fingers. The difference will be always 1. So the answer or the difference to the given question is 1650. Let's do some more questions, children. Look at this A part. 1681 minus 196. So first, we will be looking at the ones column. 1 minus 6. So 6 is more than 1. That means it is more on the floor. So you have to go to the next door, that is 8. So borrow 1 tenth from there. It will be left with 7 tenths and add 1 tenth to 1, and this will be 11. Now start counting after 6 till 11. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The answer is 5. Now let's move to the tens column. 7 minus 9. Again, children, it is more on the floor. So let's move to the next door, 6, and borrow 10. So 6 will be 5 and 1 tenth will be added to 7 and it will be 17. So start counting from 9 to 17 now. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. The answer is 8. Now the hundreds column. 5 minus 1, the predecessor property. It gives you 4. And 1 will be the same, 1. So the difference between the two numbers, the given two numbers, is 1485. Very well done. Now let's move to the other question. Now this question says 6352 minus 5165. Now let's look at the ones column, children, first. It is 2 minus 5. So that means it is more on the floor. We have to go to the next door. So 5 will become 4 and borrow 1/10 from there, and 2 will become 12. Now it is more on the top. So start counting from 5 till 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The answer is 7. Now the tens column. 4 minus 6. Again, it is more on the floor. So we will go to 3 and 3 will become 2 and we will borrow 1 from there, and this 4 will become 14. So start counting after 6 till 14. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. The answer will be 8. Now next, hundreds column. 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1, the predecessor property, it will be 1. Now the thousands column. 6 minus 5. These two numbers come together, so the difference will be 1. So the difference of the two numbers given will be 1187. Now let's see one more question. 7530 minus 1256. Let's do it quickly. 0 minus 6, the ones column. It is more on the floor, so we will borrow from 3. It will give you 1/10 and 3 will be 2 and 1/10 will be added to 0 and this will be 10. So start counting after 6 till 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. It will be 4. Now tens column. 2 minus 5. Again it is more on the floor. We will borrow from the next door, which is 5. So 5 will give you 1/10. It will become 4/10 and 2 will become 12. Now start counting after 5 till 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The answer is 7. Now let's move to hundreds column. 4 minus 2. It is already more on the top, so you don't have to stop. Start counting after 2 till 4. 3, 4. So the answer is 2. Now 7 minus 1, the predecessor property. When you subtract 1, you will get the predecessor of the number 7. So the answer will be 6. So the difference between the two numbers given is 6274. Now children, this question is having a lot of zeros. So you have to be very careful in this question, children. Let's see. 0 minus 6, the ones column. You have to go to the next door because it is more on the floor. So go to the next door. But next door is having 0. That means it's not having anything. So we will go to the next door again. But it is having 0. So again we will repeat the process and we will be going to the next door, which is 6. So this 6 will become 5 and the next 0 will borrow 1/10 and become 10. But we have to go till the last 0. So we will borrow 1/10 from this 10 and this will become 9 and the next 0 will become 10. But again we have to repeat the process as we have to go till the last 0. So this 10 again will become 9 and the last 0 will become 10. Now it is certainly more on the top, and now you have to simply subtract. So start counting after 6 till 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. So the answer is 4. Now the tens column, 9 minus 9. Numbers the same, 0 is the gain. So 0. Hundreds column, 9 minus 1, the predecessor property. So it will be 8. And now thousands column, 5 minus 1, again the predecessor property, which will be 4. So the difference between 6,000 and 1,196 is 4,804. Alright children, now we will move to word problems on subtraction. But what is a word problem? So it is a few sentences describing a real life scenario where a problem needs to be solved by a way of mathematical calculation. Let's look at the first question. Question 1 says, 500 people were invited to a party. So it is a real life situation, children, where we are talking about a party. But 230 people could not come due to bad weather. How many people came to the party? So we have to find the solution stepwise. So number first. Number of people invited, it is 500. Step number 2, number of people could not come will be 230. Everything is given in the question, children. So just observe and write the statements. Now what you have to find? Read the last statement. How many people came to the party? So step number 3 will be number of people came, which will be 500 minus 230. So when you subtract the same way which we have done earlier, you will get 270 people as the answer. Now let's move to the last question. In a colony, there are 2,500 houses. 300 houses are vacant. How many houses are occupied? So the first step will be number of houses, which is 2,500. Now read the second statement given in the question. 300 houses are vacant. So step number 2 will be number of houses vacant, which is equal to 300. What do you have to find out? Read the last sentence of this question. How many houses are occupied? So the step number 3 will be number of houses occupied, which is 2,500 minus 300. So when you subtract, first you have to arrange in columns and then you have to subtract. So when you subtract, children, by the method I have just told you, the answer you will get will be 2,200 houses. So with this, we complete the chapter subtraction. Thank you so much.